If you were a fugitive on the run, social media is not your friend. Meet the fugitive who did not get that text.
Where I come from, we're all about family. It doesn't matter race, color, we're all about family. And as soon as my mom met the boys, she was in love.
And on this Father's Day weekend, see how one man changed two lives with a lot of help from his wife and his friends. South Texas Most Wanted starts right now. On any given day, there are more than 20,000 open warrants in Bexar County alone. You can make South Texas a safer place. Make the difference. Make the call. Good evening, I'm Michael Valdez. Welcome to tonight's South Texas Most Wanted. You know, it's not often that we feature murder suspects on this show. That's normally because when police know who they're going after, they know their name, they know where they're from, they normally get their guy. That is not the case with our first suspect tonight, and that's exactly why he has a $5,000 reward following him, as well as the authorities. Rosalio Anthony Barraza is wanted by the U.S. Marshal Service for having an active arrest warrant involving a charge of first-degree murder. In July of 2013, a warrant was issued for Barraza's arrest following an investigation by the San Antonio Police Department. During that investigation, police say they found that Barraza shot Isaac Arrocha 6 times during an argument on the west side. Arrocha died in the middle of the street near General McMullen and Weir Avenue. Witnesses say Barraza left the scene on foot, and authorities have not seen him since. They do consider him armed and dangerous. Authorities say Barraza has an extensive violent criminal history that includes assault, burglary of a vehicle, evading arrest, and criminal trespassing. His last known address is on the west side of San Antonio, but police believe he does hang out on the south side as well, and they do believe he is still hiding out right here in the Alamo City. Now that is why the U.S. Marshal Service is offering a $5,000 reward for any information that leads to the arrest of Rosalio Anthony Barraza. The suspect stands 5 feet 11 inches tall and weighs 145 pounds. Barraza just celebrated his 21st birthday back in March. Police are hoping you can help make that celebration a short one. Again, there is a $5,000 reward for information leading to his arrest. If you have any information on Rosalio Anthony Barraza, contact our South Texas Most Wanted hotline, the number 210-462-1747. That's 210-462-1747. Make the difference. Make the call.
Good evening. I'm Vanessa Gallegos. You can make South Texas a safer place. Here are 2 more fugitives who are currently on the run, including one who just keeps staying one step ahead of authorities. We believe you can stop that tonight. Authorities are looking for David Lazaro. The 25-year-old is wanted in Bexar County on a charge of assault with bodily injury. This is a 3rd-degree felony here in Texas, and if convicted, Lazaro is looking at 2 to 20 years behind bars. Authorities say Lazaro is known to hang out on the northeast side of town. His last known address is on Austin Highway near Paramvidal. And law enforcement is hot on the trail of 49-year-old Hector DeLuna, a fugitive with a physical condition that could make him easier to identify. DeLuna is wanted by law enforcement on a charge of aggravated sexual assault of a child. Obviously, crimes against our children are a top priority for authorities and lawmakers alike. This is a first-degree felony in Texas with a minimum sentence of 25 years if the victim is under 14 years old. DeLuna's last known address was on Stonewall Street. That's just off of I-35 near South Cross on the south side of San Antonio. And authorities believe he may still hang out in that area. We are told that DeLuna wears leg braces, which might make him stand out in a crowd. If you have any information on Hector DeLuna or David Lazaro, give us a call on our South Texas Most Wanted hotline at 210-462-1747. That's 210-462-1747. For South Texas Most Wanted, I'm Vanessa Gallegos.
Thank you to our Vanessa Gallegos. You know, when criminals do their time, there's always a transition period as they try to get back to the normal world, and the state actually has a process that helps make that to happen. Now, they're officially called re-entry centers. You and I would refer to them as a halfway house. Either way, our next suspect did not want to be there, and that's what makes him one of our South Texas most wanted. Mark Anthony Castillo is wanted by the U.S. Marshal Service for having an active arrest warrant involving escape from a Federal Bureau of Prisons residential reentry center. Back in December of 2008, Castillo was sentenced to 120 months in prison on charges of possession with intent to distribute crack cocaine. He was also ordered to serve 5 years of supervised release, with much of that time being served in a reentry facility commonly referred to as a halfway house. Now, this is not unusual. A lot of times a judge will do this when a defendant needs further treatment or needs to be supervised a little more often than not, but has still shown they are ready to start slowly working their way back into a normal life. It seems Mark Castillo was not. Authorities say in July of 2015, just last year, Castillo violated conditions of his supervised release when he escaped from that reentry center and has not been seen since, at least not by authorities. Castillo is said to have close family ties on the west side of San Antonio and very identifiable tattoos on his neck, right arm, and left arm. Castillo does have an extensive criminal history of drug distribution, and they say he is known to carry a firearm, so be careful. If you have any information that might help U.S. Marshals catch up with 33-year-old Mark Anthony Castillo, give us a call on our South Texas Most Wanted hotline. Still to come, social network is not your friend when you are on the run. More South Texas Most Wanted coming up. Jesse Garza is wanted by the U.S. Marshal Service for having an active arrest warrant for allegedly violating conditions of his lifetime sentence to supervised release. According to authorities, it is a sentence well earned. Back in March of 2001, Jesse Garza was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison after pleading guilty to indecency with a child. He was also ordered to register as a sex offender wherever he goes after his release. The Marshal Service says Garza did not do that, and because of that, he was sentenced to another 2 years in federal prison and a lifetime of federal supervision. In March of 2014, Garza was also officially charged with violating the conditions of that supervised release because he failed to attend sex offender treatment and failed to report to his probation officer. Garza has been known to reside in San Antonio and Laredo. His last known residence, though, is in Dallas, but he could be going from city to city. The Dallas County is one of the highest ranking cities in Texas when it comes to sex offenders, with more than 5,600, according to the website homefacts.com. In Bexar County and San Antonio, there are more than 3,400 sex offenders registered. In Webb County, again, according to homefacts.com, there are only 214 registered sex offenders, mostly in Laredo, but let's again stress registered, because there are almost 7,000 sex offenders that are not registered. They're out there missing, and those are just the offenders that have been convicted and authorities know about. That brings us back to Jesse Garza. U.S. Marshals say the 51-year-old is known to have continuous contact with minor children, meaning there's always minor children around him, and that makes him a priority as they try to pin down his location. If you have any information on Jesse Garza, call our South Texas Most Wanted hotline at 210-462-1747. Again, 210-462-1747. Make the difference. Make the call.
It has been a good week on South Texas Most Wanted, thanks to your tips and information, including finding a fugitive who made it way too easy. Lawrence Okonkwo just celebrated his 30th birthday in May and did so by posting all kinds of pictures on Instagram. Needless to say, the law enforcement does have access to the World Wide Web and caught up with Okonkwo at an apartment complex in Houston. He was out by the pool. Okonkwo was wanted on a charge of aggravated robbery, but he is also facing an evading arrest charge. Those are felonies that could result in up to 10 years in prison. And Chastity Lewis was wanted on a charge of possession of marijuana of less than 2 ounces. As we like to say around here on South Texas Most Wanted, not a lot of drugs, it's a lot of trouble. That's a Class A misdemeanor, and you could be looking at up to 6 months in county jail. Lewis was picked up in the area of Gawain Drive, that's right across the street from Roosevelt High School. Our fugitives are never the brightest bulbs in the pack, but we do need your help to find them. You can make South Texas a safer place. Make the difference, make the call. For South Texas Most Wanted, I'm Vanessa Gallegos.
All right, dog bites man, not news. Man bites dog, maybe news. This next story is neither, but it's certainly worthy of being our, they say you did what?
This next tale is a Texas-sized mystery worthy of a Southern Sherlock Holmes. So play along at home. Just shout out when you think you know the answer, or type it in the comments if you're watching this on social media. Police arrive at the scene of an apparent gunshot wound to discover a man with his dog outside of a mobile home. The man tells them that he was sitting outside with his dog when someone came up and shot him in the behind while he was sitting. There's just one problem. No gunman was in sight. Well, actually, there's two problems. Nobody saw a gunman, and nobody saw a gunshot wound. See, after the gumshoes of the Groesbeck Police Department did some sleuthing, they discovered a major clue, one that broke the case wide open. The victim was really, really high. See, as it turns out, the guy wasn't shot at all. He was just paranoid from smoking so much pot. His dog was paranoid too. Not from the pot, but from the thunderstorm that was going on around them. So after a particularly loud thunderclap, the dog bites the owner right in the behind. Elementary, isn't it? The dog did it. Raise your hand if you got that one at home. For South Texas's Most Wanted, I'm JT Street with this week's They Say You Did What?
That's why I never turn my back on my dogs. That's our JT Street. Okay, still to come. If you're a father, it's about to be your day, but we're about to meet a father who's gone above and beyond everything that he's expected to do, how you can actually do the same. More South Texas Most Wanted coming out.
It's often said that anyone can be a father. It takes someone special to be a dad. That is even more true when people take on that role. Not by their circumstances, but by choice. And that's what gives us our South Texas Most Wanted difference maker.
Our journey began 4 years ago. We were talking, the process of talking about, having children, but unfortunately we couldn't have children. So we started talking about adopting. It was very heartbreaking to see all these children, and you want to take them all, but you can't. So we were given some profiles, and some of them we had to say no to. And one of them that we said no to was our two boys.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks later, because we would see them every weekend. A couple of weeks later, we got to meet the little one, Aiden.
She's like,
Where I come from, we're all about family. It doesn't matter race, color, we're all about family. And as soon as my mom met the boys, she was in love.
Because these kids have been trauma. I mean, they have a lot of trauma, unfortunately. And I thought, how am I going to handle that? How am I going to handle that? But the children's shelter had been there for us from day one. And so they're like, we will help you, walk you through this. So the boys come with doctors, psychiatrists, therapists, and just friends that they came, that they have to help us go through this, go through the process.
This is Julius's, and this is mine.
I gotta have my family, and I know Margaret's the same way. She's gotta have her family. And it's gotta be, it's interactive. It's gotta be family all the time. And the kids, it's like if they were born to us.
It just warms my heart, and I get teary-eyed every once in a while because it's just an amazing journey that we've had, and he's just an incredible dad. He really is, and the boys, they just love him.
So I'm undercover.
I'm undercover.
it is all.
There's a lot of kids in San Antonio. There's thousands of kids that are in the system right now that are waiting to be adopted, fostered, and for those fathers that are out there and those fathers and mothers that are out there that are looking for children, it's worth it.
Father's Day was first celebrated in Spokane, Washington back in 1910, but it did not become an official holiday until 5 decades later. That's when President Lyndon B. Johnson issued the presidential proclamation making Father's Day the third Sunday in June. If you know of a group or an individual who are making a difference in South Texas, contact us on our Facebook page or call South Texas Most Wanted hotline at 210-462-1747. For South Texas Most Wanted, I'm Trudy Stone.
Rah, rah. Julius gave this to me as we were walking out the door. I will cherish this young man. I appreciate it very much. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, and especially to my dad down in Del Rio, Texas, Hector Valdez. I love you very, very much. How your calls can make a difference, and they already have. More South Texas Most Wanted coming out. Before we let you go, here is one last look at some of the fugitives featured here tonight. Rosalio Anthony Barraza is wanted by the U.S. Marshal Service for having an active arrest warrant involving a charge of first-degree murder. In July of 2013, the San Antonio Police Department says Barraza shot Isaac Arrocha 6 times during an argument on the west side. Arrocha died in the middle of the street near General McMullen and Weir Avenue. Barraza has not been seen since, but police do consider him armed and dangerous. His last known address is on the west side of San Antonio, but police do believe he hangs out on the south side as well, and they do say he is likely still hiding out in the Alamo City. That is why the U.S. Marshal Service is offering a $5,000 reward for any information that leads to the arrest of 21-year-old Rosalio Anthony Barraza. Mark Anthony Castillo is wanted by the U.S. Marshal Service for having an active arrest warrant involving escape from a Federal Bureau of Prisons residential re-entry center. Back in December of 2008, Castillo was sentenced to 120 months in federal prison on charges of possession with intent to distribute crack cocaine. He was also ordered to serve 5 years of supervised release. Now, authorities say in July of 2015, just last year, Castillo violated conditions of his supervised release when he escaped from that re-entry center, what we commonly refer to as a halfway house. Castillo is said to have close family ties on the west side of San Antonio and very identifiable tattoos on his neck, right arm, and left arm. Authorities are also looking for David Losado. The 25-year-old is wanted in Bexar County on a charge of assault with bodily injury, and if convicted, Losado is looking at 2 to 20 years behind bars. Authorities say Losado is known to hang out on the northeast side of town. His last known address is on Austin Highway near Perrin Bayou. And law enforcement is hot on the trail of 49-year-old Hector De Luna, a fugitive with a physical condition that could make him easy to spot. De Luna is wanted by law enforcement on a charge of aggravated sexual assault of a child. His last known address was on Stonewall Street, that's just off I-35 near South Cross, over on the south side of San Antonio. Now, we are told that De Luna wears leg braces, which might make him stand out in a crowd. If you have any information on any of these suspects, give us a call on our South Texas Most Wanted hotline. The number there, 210-462-1747. Again, 210-462-1747. Make the difference. Make the call. That's going to do it for tonight, South Texas Most Wanted. For all the crew staying up late for you, thank you for joining us. Don't go anywhere. Your nightcap with the app is coming up in 90 seconds. In 90 seconds, I'm Michael Valdez. Have a good night.
Hey guys, I'm DJ Mighty Iris with your Nightcap with the app, coming to you from the Alamo Lounge, powered by AA Best Bail Bonds. This week, we have an indie rock band from the East Coast, the Front Bottoms, who just released their 3rd studio album back in December called Back on Top.
Some of us go through some changes, some of us go through some phases, things we fall into and then fall out. You explain this to yourself in the bathroom mirror last night as you take a toothbrush out of your mouth. You say, this is what I want, motherfucker, make it happen for me. You say, this is what I want, make it happen for me. Help, you are the poison, I need help. Less of inside my body, help. You need a means to an ending. Oh yeah, I need a spiritual cleansing. When you ask me, don't you wanna stay? Believe me, what I wanna say is yes, but I gotta go to work. Help, you are the poison, I need help. What's up inside my body, help. You need a means to an ending. Oh yeah, I need a spiritual. On some nights there's something cool to do. On some nights there's nothing to do at all.
Special thank you to the Front Bottoms. When they were in the Alamo Lounge, they were super cool, and they even got me on the guest list to their show that night at Paper Tiger that was sold out, by the way. And just watching their show was super inspiring. The whole crowd shouted the lyrics to each and every song, so let's pray that the Front Bottoms come back to San Antonio very soon. Don't forget to join me weekday afternoons, and do not miss the Valdez Alt Vault Saturday mornings and Sunday nights with Michael Valdez and friends on SA's only alternative station, 103.3 The App. For South Texas Most Wanted, I'm DJ Mighty Iris. You guys have a good night.
What?